Yeah, weiter geht's mit einer kleinen Runde. Wo müssen wir hin? Atlantis, glaube ich. Wo ist nochmal der Brocken, wo ich muss? Hier. Jamison. Set Landing Target? Wie, was? Oh, verstehe. Mann, Mann, Mann. Ein paar Euros noch einen Umweg fliegen. Wohin? Hier.
Always a satisfying moment to return to your ship.
Wie weit muss man ran? 500, glaube ich.
Welcome to the den. If you have business, feel free to land.
May I be of service? Good to see you. Certainly.
Ist schon ein Schiff geballert, das Zeug. Ich bin verwirrt. Okay, 11.000 hat der Kollege, aber immerhin. Muss man irgendwas verkaufen. Nee, da bekomme ich mehr Kohle. Woanders. Mercenary Space Helm mit zweimal. Behalte ich auch. Für die Base. Achso, dass das Ship Inventory ist. Okay. Da ist er wohl dabei, oder? Jawohl. Okay, was kann man verkloppen hier? Ein paar Drumbeats. Die brauche ich nicht. Mehr als genug. Ja, weg mit den ganzen Dingern hier. Inventory mit checken. 107. Okay. Geil erstmal. Jump! Los geht's. Mal gespannt, was als nächstes kommt.
Maintain your current course while we scan your ship's cargo. We're done.
Los, Beeilung. So, wo ist noch hin? Ah, ja. Was macht die Pfeife da? Zigarettenpause oder was?
Over here.
Ah,
The workup's in the cabinet's hands. They said they'll call for us once they've gotten to properly review it. Though I was a bit caught off guard when the commander of the Vanguard asked me how things were going as I was headed up the elevator. Hadn't realized you were UC Navy this whole time. Suppose that makes us even then. Though, in the spirit of full disclosure, there is one more thing you ought to know before we head up there. My relationship with the UC. It's more complicated than it might seem at first glance. The UC's actually the only reason I'm here in the first place. I am a clone of a man named Francois Sanon, one-time fleet admiral of the
Ach, was.
UC during the Colony War, former head of the UC Navy. They called him Ve Victus. Woe to the defeated, in Old Earth Latin. A title he earned. The program I was a part of, it was the UC's attempt to create a new generation of military minds from one of their most respected tacticians. Secure the leadership of the UC military for generations to come.
die hat mal eine coole Stimme. Aber warum flackert das Bild so?
He would have happily told you he was one of the greats. Ultimately, though, it didn't matter. The man I was cloned from, my father, was executed for acts he committed during the war. The man caused a lot of death on both sides. Freestar Collective and UC. Military and civilians. And the things he did, well, they're a part of the reason the UC and Freestar Collective aren't really on great terms to this day. So my involvement, it could be another obstacle they throw at us up there. I just wanted you to be forewarned. I really appreciate you saying that. I just thought you deserved to know, considering how much you've done already. You know, while we've got a second, was there anything else we needed to discuss? I know you got dropped into the middle of this pretty fast. Or if you've got any last-minute business to attend to, now might be a good time. No telling how long the cabinet's gonna keep us waiting out here. Eye strain from the amount of reading I've got on the horizon if we succeed. The Terramorph project never went anywhere. It couldn't. They're deadly creatures, but they aren't xenoweapons. The cabinet not opening the archives is probably a bigger risk than them handing over the files. That data itself isn't dangerous, which probably wouldn't be a bad point for us to bring up, should the opportunity arise. Well, thinking about it more, I suspect there'd be value in sharing the fact that the Terramorph project was, well, a failure. There's no need to be afraid of this data being weaponized. Knowing that should calm some of the cabinet's fears and make it easier for us to dispel any suspicions the other factions might have about our intentions. I mean, we never spent a lot of time together. He was too busy being Fleet Admiral to deal with kids. I was raised by a pair of guardians instead. Until his defeat during the Colony War, though, he was known as an extremely effective commander. Savvy. Perceptive. That mind opened a lot of doors for him. And for me, too. But Ve Victus, for all his ability, was heartless. Ruthless to a fault. In the end, that's what cost him his life. That's actually a souvenir from my time on Mars. The Red Devils unit I was a part of, they were founded by recruits who'd worked some of Mars' deepest mines. Folks used to adversity. The dust at those depths, it seeps into everything. The human eye included. Where the name Red
Nice.
Devils came from in the first place. It became an unwritten rite of passage that anyone wanting to enlist with the Devils had to do a stint in the mines before they could join up. The Devils were always talked about in such revered tones during my training, so as soon as I was old enough, I signed up. And the eyes were my parting gift.
Solange die noch funktionieren.
Then I guess it's just a matter of...
The cabinet meeting is about to begin. All parties, please proceed to the cabinet chambers.
Let us just say I am.
Fahr schon mal vor, Kollegen. Ah ja, hier war ich schon mal und habe alles ausgeräumt, das ist gut. Haha, hier Alban.
Ah, welcome. You must be the captain Hadrian mentioned in her report. You have our thanks for the risks you faced in securing this information.
Ja, easy.
Oh, I'm sure she did.
Yes, well, precisely how urgent is what I hope we'll determine here today. So now, we have two petitioners here making a surprising request. Access to the UC Xeno Warfare Team's Terramorph data, currently housed in the Armistice archives. A request which will require not just this body's agreement, but that of all three Armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, Captain, we've all read Hadrian's report on the subject, but we have yet to hear from you. Perhaps you could summarize for the Cabinet what it is you see as the goal of this endeavor.
Ja, Mann, genau meine Antwort.
That is something to consider. Though we also have to take into account the nature of the data you require.
Madam President, I object to the very premise of this meeting. While no one would argue that what happened on Tau Ceti was anything less than a tragedy, terramorph attacks are not some sudden new threat on the horizon. They've been happening for generations.
Ah, okay.
Demand we hand over banned archival knowledge and possibly upset the balance of galactic diplomacy because of a single attack. Seems at best panic. And at worst, a power grab by the daughter of a bloodthirsty warmonger and her associates.
I would remind the chief diplomat who he's speaking to. If it's my father you're looking to address, you're welcome to consult a medium. I would also ask how many deaths the cabinet requires to act.
Eine Mille.
50? 50,000? Because if tragedies like Tau Ceti are just prelude to more attacks, I have no doubt you'll get the body count you require.
Let's keep this civil, shall we? And while there should be no doubt the preservation of life stands paramount among this body's duties, Chief Yassine has a point. Will a single attack, however troubling, be sufficient to convince the other factions to grant us access to what they no doubt consider weapon data? I don't think it's enough. Perhaps you can help, Captain. As the one who actually collected the sample in question, did this terramorph seem at all alarming to you?
Tja, Yassin Abi und Frau Labello.
That is worth considering. This attack took place on an almost completely uninhabited world. The casualties were minimal as a result. But if there's another attack, will we be so lucky?
Yes, a fine point, Admiral. So then, Captain,
Mann, seid ihr alle verblödet.
information information you've been privy to thus far. If you were in our position, would you grant the request made to open the archives?
Fragt sie mich. Ja, Mann, bist du doof.
You are correct, but it must be considered that with the data in hand, someone else could succeed where that program failed.
Schlau.
That? I hadn't thought of that, Captain.
An excellent point indeed. The other powers would likely be much more inclined to work with us knowing that. Chief Diplomat.
That point is a good one. Very well, you have my agreement. The galaxy is lucky you were here today.
Tja.
You and I are in agreement, Chief Diplomat. So, if there are no other objections, I believe we can agree to give our full backing to make the request to...
An incident has occurred. Facility lockdown engaged.
Incident. Chief Sarkin, what's happening?
There's been an attack at the spaceport. Terramorphs.
Terramorphs. More attacks. Just as predicted.
Good God.
There must be another explanation. The creatures
Puh, 88 Schuss.
scanner somehow.
There will be plenty of time for conjecture later. Chief Sarkin, order the evacuation of the spaceport and have your men contain the things, but do it discreetly.
Mann, ihr seid nicht nur blöd, ihr seid auch verdammt langsam.
Is a citywide panic.
Yes, ma'am.
Und der Typ mit der Pimmelfrisur soll das jetzt hier übernehmen, ja?
Can provide support.
I'll make the order myself. Nearest anti-Xeno squad, though, is off-world. Going to take a while to bring them in.
Well then, we'll have to make do with the tools we've got. You two, we can't risk those things getting out of the spaceport. I want you both on the next train there. We'll let them know you're coming and that you've dealt with these things before. Now go show them how it's done.
Ja, Mann. Gerne. Falsche Richtung, Kollegen.
Stop! We're trying to help you! Now hit him with everything you've got!
Electromagnetic beams.
Once again, we are triumphant.
Lights out on that one! Now you'll bleed!
Das ist doch keine Terramorph.
Thank you for what you did. We didn't want to hurt them.
The way those people were acting. I've seen this before. They were under the Terramorph's influence, weren't they?
I don't know. They were down at the port and they just started screaming. We tried to restrain them, get them on the train to get them out of harm's way, but some of the other officers down there, we couldn't restrain them fast enough. They just started firing on us. People we knew. They went berserk.
Pheromonic projection. Some Terramorphs, they can induce this fog. It affects everyone differently, but some people just lose control, turn against everyone around them, even if they don't want to. They're like a puppet. You kill the morph, you break the hold. But this means we're gonna need to be real careful with our fire. And keep that EM weapon at the ready. I'm not suggesting. It's documented behavior. The result of the projection, though, can vary wildly. Some folks just shrug it off. Others hallucinate. And some lose control altogether. They'll lash out at anyone around them, but still be aware while they're doing it. Those cases, you'll either need to knock them out with EM fire, or free them by killing the Terramorph. I honestly was just wondering the same thing. But no, you don't need to worry about me. I've had a Terramorph try it on me before. I'm not susceptible. So we'll just have to make sure to watch out for each other down there.
Tja, lass mal hustlen.
Let's do it.
Nat's unlocked. Please, do what you can to help them.
Ja, sicher. So. Lass mal hier sortieren. Hauen wir die mal auf die 1. Auf die 2. Drei. 4. Granaten und Minen sind 5 und 6. Nochmal speicheln. Tja, noch ein Tor. Oh Mann, wo bin ich denn hier? Ach du Scheiße. Weg, 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 weg. Keine Sorge, haben wir doch gleich. Das Magazin ist ja lächerlich von den Dingen hier.
Wait, officer? Are you and this woman experts? Take whatever we can get right now. We've got the remaining creatures locked down. One fire team to spare and whatever supplies you need, but I can't risk them taking over any more of my men. Put those things down and do it fast. We'll hold them as best we can.
Tja, sollen wir mal gucken hier. Haben wir Zugriff? Sort by damage. Ich habe keine Heilung, das ist natürlich total beschissen. Trauma Packs. Die 0. Dann Personal Atmosphere Anti-Grav Field ist die 8. Keine Ahnung, was das war. Die 8. Okay. Kommt er erst auf die 1. Ne, der kommt auf die 2 hier. Da kommt er aus. Das ist die Elektrospritze. Auf die 4.
Heard you might be looking for some backup. You say the word, we're out there on your 6.
You two have any experience with terramorphs before?
Only the brief they just gave on the way here. But we know how to handle pressure.
Surviving a full-on mental assault isn't the same as keeping your cool in a firefight. Might make you more liability than asset.
We're not UC security. You don't need to worry about us. Your call. We're on the line.
Tja, nochmal speichern hier. Schläft das Tierchen oder was? Ja, falsche Richtung, da ist doch noch einer. Was haben wir denn hier noch? Ein Knallzeug dabei. Tja, kann man doch mal machen. Oh Mann! Jawohl, Mann. Jeder mehr geiler Shit. Hey, was ist ein Mannschiff? Ah ja. Guten Tag. Oh.
You've lost. You're never gonna win. They always win.
They're everywhere! All around! Nowhere is safe!
Nice work, Captain.
The rest of the city is safe, thanks to us. You deserve
Thanks to
whatever
us.
accolades you have coming. If you are free soon, could we...
Nein, bitte nicht.
What is it?
Guess they weren't kidding about it. Let's put the right people in the right place.
So sieht's aus. Ah.
Certainly doesn't feel like it.
I don't want to think what would have happened if you two hadn't been here.
Just glad we could rise to the occasion. Captain, we should report back to the President. Let her know the Terramorphs have been dealt with. Take care of yourself, Sergeant.
Ah, wir wollen, dass wir die U-Bahn nutzen, ne? Mist, ja, mein Hokuspokus ganz vergessen.
Attention. The spaceport has been secured. Safety precautions remain in place. Please wait for the all-clear signal before exiting your homes. That is all.
I am thankful these rides are quick.
Ach so, die Wummen sind ja so schwer. Das hätte ich mal einnehmen sollen, ja.
I do not like being in small and...
Nothing's getting to the cabinet.
That's what we need to hear. Thank you, gentlemen. Let your people all know how much we owe them today.
Yes, ma'am.
Ah, there you are. I believe we have some things.
El Presidente.
Security loses an officer. I make it my responsibility to call their family.
Those
I've
creatures
got a
killed
lot of
UC
calls
citizens.
to make now.
They're not killing anymore.
Seid ihr mal fertig? Danke sehr.
Captain, Hadrian,
Labello.
it would appear that the cabinet owes you our thanks for what you did for the city today, as well as an apology. Your concerns about the Terramorphs, well, consider them validated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Of course. I only wish we could have acted sooner. Now, today's events have only clarified our path forward in the eyes of the cabinet. You will have our full support in collecting the Terramorph data from the archives, as well as a subsequent investigation into the nature of these attacks. But to accomplish those goals, we're going to need the right people in the right places.
Schon wieder.
As such, the cabinet has authorized me to reinstate you, Hadrian, effective immediately, to your former rank of major.
So geht das.
As soon as we've got the data in hand, we want you investigating these attacks and how to stop them. Will you do this?
Yes. Yes, ma'am. I'd be honored.
Excellent. But as you've both made clear, for such an investigation to succeed first, we're going to need someone to convince the Freestar Collective and House Varun to play ball. Someone who knows precisely the sorts of dangers the colonies and all the galaxy are facing right now. The cabinet wants you, Captain, to be that representative. We do. In exchange, we're willing to fast-track your citizenship upon collection of the data. So, will you help us? I'm glad to hear it. Now, we, of course, won't be sending you in without the proper support. Deputy McIntyre in the Office of Interstellar Affairs will be your guide on gaining access to the archives. You should be able to find her in her office across the hall. And on behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our thanks. You're dismissed.
Immer gerne. Kann ich auch Kaffee bringen, wenn ihr Bock habt.
A Vanguard captain. You... Yes, sir. I'll make sure they get what they require. That must make you my Vanguard captain. Welcome to Interstellar Affairs. I'm Deputy Chief Diplomat McIntyre, Chief Yassine's second-in-command. I heard you were instrumental in protecting the city from the attack. You have my gratitude. I was also informed that you gave quite the presentation to the cabinet. Chief Yassine wants you to know the Interstellar Affairs Office is fully committed to this endeavor, accessing the Terramorph data and beyond. We're going to do everything in our power to make sure you have the tools you need. And that means first getting you into the archives. You do know what the archives are, correct?
All right, we'll start at the beginning.
When the colony war ended, the UC and Freestar Collective came to the agreement some weapons needed to be off limits. Mechs, xeno-warfare. So they gathered up all the relevant research materials and sealed that information away. Terramorph data included, in the archives here in the city. Access to the archives is only granted in cases of dire emergency and requires a one-time use code from each of the 3 armistice signatories. UC, Freestar Collective, and House Varun. Now, the UC is already on board, so that means we'll need to convince 2 people. The ambassadors of the Freestar Collective and House Varun to hand over their codes. Get them both and you'll have your data. But that's a lot easier said than done.
So selber machen oder was?
I couldn't agree more. However, both ambassadors have reasons they won't, or can't, work with us. Now, I'll provide guidance on how we believe you can acquire each code, but ultimately, it'll be up to you to get them both to cooperate. And I do mean cooperate. Threats and violence are off the table here. Though that doesn't mean we can't get creative. But it does mean we need to get you up to speed on who you're dealing with. Who do you want to start with? Ambassador Radcliffe of Freestar, or Ambassador Balmore of House Varun? Ambassador Balmore's a challenge. When the rest of House Varun retreated into seclusion shortly after the signing of the armistice, Balmore stayed here. He's since lent his support to a small number of archival requests, so there's real hope he might again. Though claiming to know how a member of House Varun thinks is a quick way to earn yourself a psych eval. Well, these days, they're primarily considered a security threat. House Varun Zealots, a fundamentalist outshoot of the group that stayed behind when the rest retreated into seclusion, want nothing more than to send everyone not dedicated to their cause to the great serpent in the sky. But that hasn't always been the case. After they ended the Serpent's Crusade about 70 years back, House Varun did take a real run at trying to normalize relations with the rest of the galaxy. It's why they have an embassy here in the first place, why they were included in the armistice negotiations. But then, without warning, they left, leaving behind, to our knowledge, just the ambassador and his duty under the armistice. It does, but there's a concern. We're not 100% sure Balmor is actually still alive. His public appearances were always rare, but it's been several years now since he last poked his head out. Scans of the facility show life signs, but not the kind we were expecting. Your task is to find him and kindly but firmly remind him of his duties under the armistice. The Varun delegation brought more than a few of their native flora with them when they set up in the embassy. It seems those plants have been allowed to flourish, making it hard for us to verify what's flora and what's ambassador. The embassy is still legally House Varun's sovereign territory, so we're not technically permitted inside. We've snuck in the occasional spy, of course, but the ambassador has proven more evasive than you'd expect for a man of his age. But we're quite sure he hasn't left the city. The man stands out. Then you search the embassy for his biometric key, collect your code piece, and we'll go about notifying his next of kin, if we can ever find them. But let's hope it doesn't come to that. I have no doubt. Now, the embassy front door isn't an option, but our spies have stated there's a side entrance that should allow you access. Here, this device should get you all the way down to the embassy interior. Once you're inside, though, finding the ambassador is going to be up to you. And fair warning, we received a report that alarms might have been tripped inside the embassy during the attacks. Watch out for automated security in there. The good Ambassador Ratcliffe. She's a veteran of the Colony War, and her only goal in life is to make ours miserable.
It sounds as though I will enjoy this.
Now, officially, our office is suggesting you try and negotiate with her. Use your experiences as a member of the military and with the threat we're facing to convince her to lend her support. And who knows? Maybe that'll work. Stranger things have happened. But my suspicion is we're going to have to rely on other tools to get her code. Certainly. See, good diplomacy is all about the careful application of pressure. We just need to find the squeeze. UC Intelligence has a recording device planted in the ambassador's living quarters, which we suspect you can use to your advantage. But getting caught trespassing is a quick way to land yourself in an embassy holding cell. So, if you are going to try and access the device, you're going to need to find a way in there without being seen. Now, we recovered some intel we believe should be able to help with that. But there's also a disgruntled staff member you might be able to pump for information. Maybe even convince to work with you. Name's Cameron Long. He's younger than Ratcliffe, bears less of a grudge towards the UC. He works closely with the ambassador, making him a promising source for information on the ins and outs of embassy life, and someone who very likely hates her guts.
Yes, many. Don't steal anything. Don't get caught anywhere you're not supposed to. Absolutely do not harm anyone. If something goes wrong, we'll do our best to smooth things over, but I can't make any promises.
Tja, das mit dem Stehlen geht leider nicht klar.
All right. Here, your diplomatic ID. I'll give them a heads up, you're on your way. Not likely to let you through the door otherwise.
And take these. Chief Yassine wanted you to have some options on how to proceed in there.
Now, if you have additional questions or require clearance for a new approach we haven't already discussed, don't hesitate to ask. I'd suggest you start with Ambassador Radcliffe. Approach her while the attack is still fresh in her and her staff's mind. Be smart out there, Captain.
Tja,
Howdy.
Mann Dank.
By the way, Captain, Sergeant Yumi was looking for you. Sounds like he's got more work.
No, nicht jetzt, Kollegen. Wir müssen erstmal die Welt retten, dann. Muss man Marker.
They build a monument to the people they lost, but not the people they killed.
Oder falsche. Nicht nur das Quick Wheel. Okay.
You cannot help but notice that the Colony War Memorial.
Stylish.
Visitors are only allowed in the lobby, offices, or conference room. That means you.
I would like a chance to talk to you.
Nicht jetzt! Scheiße, die wird mich jetzt ganz voll
I
dauern.
wonder how many times one side or the other has threatened to close this embassy down over the years.
All that security and they still can't protect their own spaceport. The UC never fails to disappoint. I just wish I hadn't received the news from an SSNN broadcast. We have a strategic advantage to maintain, Mr. Long.
Of course, ma'am. I'll make sure it doesn't happen again.
Excuse me. Are you supposed to be in here? Sounds like it was a real mess down at the spaceport.
That woman is an absolute... Oh, sorry.
Die steht neben dir.
What? You're the Vanguard captain, right? You know, I was about to board the Nat to the spaceport when the alarm triggered. Sounds like I got real lucky. And like I've got you to thank for things not being a lot uglier. Heard that, huh? Yeah, the ambassador likes to treat us like family, and she doesn't care for most of them either. But look, they said you were coming here on official business. The ambassador likes to handle all that personally, even if she does have trained diplomats here to help her. And I don't want to get shipped back to Aquila City, so you should probably go speak to her. You want to work with me? Why don't we talk somewhere a bit more private? Hey, maybe try not to look like you're following me?
Was soll das denn jetzt?
You have done this before, right?
I'm sorry. Do you have an appointment? What are you? Ah, you're the one McIntyre called about. The eyewitness. She said you were at the spaceport. You have my thanks for what you did down there, truly. Saved many lives. Now, she also mentioned that, and maybe it was just a bad connection, that now the UC wants terramorph data from the Armistice archives, some of the most highly guarded information in the galaxy, in order to protect us all. I can only presume you're here to tell me I misheard her and that they didn't send you, local hero, to futilely beg on their behalf. Tell me I've got that right. Oh, stop. You're embarrassing yourself.
Yes, I would request the same. This is unpleasant to watch.
See, even your compatriot can't stomach such a sorry display. Let me be frank, Captain. The answer is no. That information is there because it is dangerous. I will not be the one responsible for its release. Now, why don't you quit wasting my time and yours, and go? You're really gonna push this? All right, I will give you one chance. One, to convince me. Understood.
Scheiße. Jetzt mal die Drogen poppen. Naja.
I'm listening.
Es geht in die Hose. Ach du Scheiße, in 3 Turns?
You're not gonna flatter me into acting against the Freestar Collective's best interest. You know that for sure. That is interesting. No one does, Captain. The only question is how to do it.
Ich darf nochmal?
I suppose you're right. Our job and our responsibility. Well, Captain, you make some good points. But if I'm really granting you access, I'm gonna need the following concessions. Your access will be limited. You can only take out the items related to stopping these terramorphs. The monitors will make sure of it. You go in once. You get everything you need on your trip, and never again. And all research done with the data will be monitored. If this data is being used to save the galaxy needs to be involved in the oversight.
Klar, klar.
Freestar scientists will watch your people like hawks. So, do we have an agreement? Excellent. Follow me.
Ja, wohin denn?
It's not supposed to be a long process. It is for emergencies, after all.
Sorry. Everyone's a little on edge with the attack.
They tell me it should only take a moment.
Im Ernst?
And there.
Schöne Lochkarte hier.
Here, I'll reach out to Deputy McIntyre. We'll coordinate the necessary oversights. Two unlikely allies, I guess.
Official business? Talk to the ambassador.
Zu geil. Ich würde so gerne einbrechen. Ja. Anderes Mal. Okay.
Let's talk in my office.
Boah, du bist ja echt anstrengend, Junge.
Not here, okay?
Ich bin mal gespannt. Mhm. Naja, hat was. Komm ich nicht hoch. Tja, hier gibt's eine Short. Wie jetzt? Protect current user. Ja, das so einfach hier. Nice. Die Schlange hier. Die hätte ich gern für die Base. Das Ding ist auch geil. Credits!
If you have the time, I wish to speak to you.
Schon gecheckt.
Best not to leave anything useful to me.
Was war das denn? Oh, ist eine Geldsparen hier. Warum ist der Bot? Hätte ja auch mal ein Kollege sein sollen. Ist er nicht? Ist er nicht? Komm, hier, lock mir mal raus, hier, Kollegin. Ernst. Was? Kack, ja? Und ernst? Ja, was das bald mal hier, ja. Tja, zu spät.
Perhaps it was nothing.
Jetzt hat der komische Typen. No, hatte ich übersehen, danke sehr. Eins, zwei, drei, vier, fünf, sechs. Vierer passt nicht. Zwei passt. Ach du Scheiße, geht's hier mir nicht aus. Kack. Und du. Tja, wie soll es denn gehen? Kannst du normal machen. Vier. Und zu viel Shit am Start mal wieder. Mann, in der Bude sieht's aus, ey. Das ist ja nicht auszuhalten, die Wumme hier.
Did they have anything about it? Roughly soon.
Vier, 8, im Ernst. Vier, 5, 6, 7, 8, 4. Noch zu spät. Ja. Kollegen, ja. Mal auf das Ding. Hm. Du kommst mit. Die stehen aber Leckerlis. Noverlight. Nice, nice. Und Credits. Ah, gehen wir wieder ran. Das sieht doch ganz gut aus.
I think you may be trying to take a little too much on. Literally. Good one.
Das wohl mal aussah. Ach was, im Ernst? Steht der Dr. Spock.
So, what seems punishment becomes providence. A reminder we can never truly know the Great Serpent's designs for us. You have my thanks, and my apologies for the ordeal you just endured. Come, let us discuss.
Discuss what? So dann hast du ja. Display Projector 240 zum Angebot. Einmal Master 6. Risiko 2, 4, 5. Das Shit war 2, 3, 6, 7. Eieiei. Muss auch ein 4er geben, der passt, ne? Nein, ich hab falsch gedrückt. Oh, ja, geht sich trotzdem aus. Nice. Ja, Credits. Das war nice, das Ding. Wie, warum taucht das nicht bei Value auf? Oh, 88 hat er vom Klo rumliegen. Nicht schlecht. Deep Secret Pack? Was ist das denn? Ah, 20% Carry Capacity. Das ist ja nicht schlecht. Nochmal richtig Credits im Gepäck hier. Nice. Die alle missionieren, der Kollege. Hm. Kein Name?
Not the ideal introduction, I suppose, giving you a grand tour of the embassy via barely functioning intercoms. I do greatly appreciate your persistence. I suspect the Venom tree upstairs has worked itself into more systems than I'd realized. But then again, who could cage such a beauty? Tell me though, what is it like outside? I heard the broadcast mentioning an attack. Then the embassy was struck with a power surge and then... silence. Has the rest of the city suffered quite so badly? Harmless spores, you have my word, but hard to navigate. Hence why I was guiding you through the intercoms to restore the environmental controls. And release me. It is the sap of the tree that gives it its... well, perhaps not a topic for this exact moment. But I must know of the rest of the city. Does it still stand? I take it you didn't have such an experience where you were, then, hmm? Yes, the entire embassy was thrown into lockdown, trapping me in my quarters, disabling the Venom Tree's filters, and arming the defenses. A disconcerting experience, to say the least. Was the rest of the city spared? Yeah, more time could be spent tidying, I suppose, but I entertain so few guests. And fewer welcome ones. Now, it cannot solely be the Serpent's grace that brought you here at such an opportune moment. You were sent by the UC. That much is obvious. Who else could just waltz through my door, hmm? And the broadcast spoke of terror morphs at the spaceport. A worrying occurrence, certainly, but coming here of all places, when all I could provide is some enthused cheerleading and... an archive code. So the UC requires information, then. On terror morphs, presumably, hmm? Do I see this all clearly? The preservation of life stands as the very purpose of the archives. Using its data to prevent more attacks, there is logic there. But if I am to grant you access, I have a requirement. For years, House Varun has been known only as an agent of slaughter. We founded this embassy with hopes of shedding that legacy. With little success. In exchange for my code, I require this. You must be the one who ensures it is used for good. Ensure House Varun's legacy is more than just carnage. The knowledge you ask for isn't evil. No knowledge is. It is we who bend it to evil ends. Oh, you must assure me this will be used to save lives, not endanger them.
Tja, machen wir.
You have mine as well, for what that is worth.
Well then, I shall not fear.
Ja, ein bisschen vielleicht.
Please, follow me.
Follow me, yo.
I have things I wish to discuss with you.
Hat er denn seinen Level-Drucker?
Let's hope it still works.
If you have the time, I wish to speak to you.
Ambassador.
And there. Let it be used for good.
Wird gemacht, Kollege. Der war ja angenehm. Hätte schlimmer kommen können. Ja, dann hier. Ciao, ne?
Will we all be so lucky next time the archives need to be accessed? So, the affairs of House Varun are our own. They left. That is all there is to be said on the subject. House Varun committed itself to the armistice. This was said at the time to be the desire of the Great Serpent, and I do not believe the Serpent decides such things on a whim. So, when my brethren left, I remained, honoring the Serpent's will as I saw fit, as is the right of all his followers. It was tolerable, even pleasant, when my brethren were here in the embassy with me. We remade this place as best we could into a home we all would recognize. Our native flora, our iconography, our connection to the Serpent, they came with us. With my brethren gone, it has been trying. But the Great Serpent has always provided me a path in my darkest moments. The Great Serpent is so much more than a god. It is fate itself. When our founder, Jinan Varun, left the United Colonies 140 years ago for distant stars,
Ist das gerundet?
it was the Serpent that compelled him to found his now great house. The Serpent made us who we are today. Its voice speaks to us, shepherding us through the dark and infuses our lives with the meaning the universe so often fails to provide.
Your abilities are truly amazing.
Oh, no. Nicht verwirrt. So, warum war das denn hier nochmal? Oh, was übersehen hier. Ich glaube, ich spinne. 2, 4, 6, 7. Fünf. So, 4, 6. Medpack. Oh ne, schneller Schmuggel-Shit. Figuren aus dem Museum hier verteilt, damit er nicht so einsam ist. Spock. Wo war denn da? Okay, dann dürfte ich ja nichts übersehen haben. Jetzt dahin, aber schon checken. Interessant. Infinity Limited HQ. Oha.
What response?
I'm told by top officials the cabinet already has a plan in place to open the Armistice archives.
Unless that archive's full of ordnance, it's not enough.
I see. Well, thank you for taking the time.
Hey, publish what I said, all right? Something needs to be done.
Oh, I'm as concerned as you are. Thank you again for speaking with me.
Cool.
Even when I see it with my own eyes, it is still hard to believe.
Tja, erstmal den Shit wegbringen und dann geht's weiter. Ist erstmal Pause für heute.